Hello everyone, this is Shruti Saxena Das, and in today's video we are going to discuss about the functions of transport layer. Transport layer is the fourth layer in OSI model, and it takes data from the above layers and transfer it to the network layer. So basically it provides the facility to application process running on different machines to communicate with each other. Fine. So the first function of transport layer is end-to-end delivery. So we have discussed about network layer. There the main focus is on routing. But here in transport layer, the main focus is on end-to-end delivery. That means the machine, suppose this machine wants to communicate with this machine. These are two machines who wants to communicate with each other. Now each of these machines might be running multiple application. Now which application wants to communicate with which application on this system? That is the task of transport layer. So here in transport layer we deal with port numbers. Port numbers are of 16-bit. So we deal with the port numbers here to access the process. So here in this machine, as I said, multiple applications might be running. So which application wants to communicate with which application? That is the task of transport layer. So the first function here is that end-to-end delivery should be provided of entire message from sender to receiver. The second is reliability. Now transport layer should ensure reliability. Here the main protocols which are used for transferring information or data are TCP and UDP. TCP is your connection oriented protocol which ensures reliability, and UDP is your user datagram protocol which is your connectionless protocol. So in case of when we talk about reliability, it is in terms of following. Like the first thing, when we talk about reliability, the first thing is in order delivery. In order delivery of data, or we can say sequence control. Suppose this is your sender, this is your receiver. So when you are sending certain data, when you are sending certain information, so suppose the packets are 1 2 3 4 which you are sending, it should be received in the same order at the receiver end. So it should be 1 2 3 4 only. Fine. So order should be maintained. That is your in order delivery. Sequence should be maintained. For that, in TCP in your headers we are having information of sequence number. Also in TCP header also we are having one field for sequence number in order to maintain the order of the message. So the message order should be maintained in the same way. So if you are sending first, second, third, fourth, here also first should be received first, then second, then third, then fourth. It should be received like this only. Then the second one, when we talk about reliability, then the second metric is loss control. Okay, loss control means that it should prevent loss of data. So we need to identify what segments are missing. So whatever segments are missing, for that retransmission should be initiated. So again the sequence number can be used for this purpose, and loss of data is minimized in case of TCP. So when we are using TCP, which is connection oriented protocol, because here we use three-way handshake mechanism. Here it is same like telephone. See, whenever we want to communicate with another person through telephone, first of all you need to call that person. So when call is established, once the connection is established, then only communication is started. So here also loss can be controlled using TCP. It can be controlled by identifying missing segments. So first of all you need to identify the missing segments, and once missing segments are identified, we can initiate retransmission for those missing segments. Okay, so no need to retransmit everything again, only the segments which is missing. Like here, suppose you are sending 1 2 3 4, and here 1 3 4 are received, 2 is not received. Then at the receiver end, all the sequence numbers will be checked, and if 2 is missing, the receiver will again send the acknowledgement back to the sender, asking sender to send the segment with the sequence number 2. Fine. So loss control can be done in this way. The third one is error control. Error control we have discussed in data link layer also. So where we discussed about checksum method. Here also checksum is used for error control. There is a separate field for checksum in TCP header also. But what is the difference between error control which we are using at data link layer and error control which we are using at transport layer? See, suppose the scenario is, this is the sender, this is the receiver, and there is a link between sender and receiver via two routers. These are two routers. Now see, what is the difference between error control mechanisms? The data link layer focuses on checking for errors on these links between systems, between this sender and the first router, between this router and this router, and between this router and destination. Okay, it does not focus, it does not checks for the error which are introduced inside these routers. So data link layer checks for error between each network. Okay, between each systems. If an error is introduced inside any of the router, then data link layer won't be able to detect it. So transport layer performs error checking on end-to-end basis. So that is the main difference between error control which we are using on data link layer and the error control mechanism which we are using on transport layer. So the main focus will be that in data link layer we are focusing only on checking errors only on links between two systems, whereas if errors are introduced on these routers, then we are not checking on data link layer, so we need to focus it in transport layer. So in transport layer we focus on the errors which are introduced inside the routers. So this is one of the metric which is used to ensure reliability. Then the next one which is used is duplication control. So again, the sequence number plays an important role for duplication also. For duplication control, we can check the sequence number and we can identify the lost packet, and also we can identify the discard duplicate segments also. So if the duplicate packets are received, in that case we can check for the sequence number. If suppose, like here we are having sender and receiver, if suppose at the receiver end we have received one for 2 times, so if 2 segments are there with the same sequence number, then we can discard the duplicate one. Okay, so duplication control is also one of the metric to ensure reliability. Then the next one is, once your reliability is ensured, then in that case the next function comes into existence, that is your flow control. So that is another metric, another function of transport layer. Flow control ensures that the receiver will be able to receive all the data which sender is sending. See, we have sender who is sending data, we have receiver who is receiving data. Now suppose sender is sending at high speed as compared to receiver, so as compared to the receiver's capability to receive and process it, then the data will get lost. So in that case we need to maintain the flow, we need to maintain a proper flow in which the data has been sent. So we can use sliding window protocols for this one. We have selective repeat for this purpose. So basically the window size can be advertised between sender and receiver, and that will be mutual, that will be decided between sender and receiver. So accordingly the data will be transmitted, so that receiver will be able to receive and process the data which sender is receiving. So this is the next function which is used in transport layer. Then the next one is, after your flow control, we are having the next function of transport layer, which is the fourth function, which is multiplexing and demultiplexing. So multiplexing and demultiplexing, it is basically done. See, what is the need of these techniques? When multiple signals share the common medium, then there is a possibility of collision. So in order to reduce, in order to avoid that collision, we need multiplexing. So it's a technique in which we use a hardware which is known as multiplexer. So we'll be having multiple input lines. So these are, suppose, n input lines. What this multiplexer will do, it will take all the n inputs and it will send multiple data streams over a single medium. So this is a channel on which it is sending. So it will take all these inputs and share it on a single, over a single medium. So the process of combining data stream is known as multiplexing, and the hardware which we are using is known as multiplexer. So basically it takes these input and it combines and generate a single output line. Okay, and again, what demultiplexer will do? Demultiplexing is achieved by this hardware demultiplexer. What it will do, here you are having a single link. That will be the purpose of using this demultiplexer, is to take this data which is coming in the single medium, and then it will divide it into n output lines. The main purpose of using this multiplexing and demultiplexing is that if we are having multiple signals which share common medium, then in that case there is more possibility of having collision. To avoid those collisions, we need to use this multiplexer and demultiplexer schemes. So basically what we are doing, we are taking multiple signals, we are taking multiple data streams, we are combining it. So this process of combining these input lines into a single medium, that is known as multiplexing, and taking this single medium and dispersing into a multiple output lines, that is known as demultiplexing. So that is, see here, from here you can see multiplexing many to one. So it follows many to one criteria. Demultiplexing, it follows one to many. Okay, so basically what is happening, see, you can have multiple applications which are running on application layer. Okay, and each system can run multiple applications. Now in transport layer, this is your application layer where multiple applications are running. Then we are having a transport layer. In transport layer, we use two protocols which are the main protocols, TCP and UDP. Okay, so these application processes which are running on a machine, they can use either TCP or UDP to transfer data. Okay, now these TCP and UDP will transmit data to the internet protocol, that is on network layer. So basically what is happening, see, many to one. Okay, so each of the application layer has ability to send a message using TCP or UDP. So you can see from here that we are having multiplexing and demultiplexing, which is used over here. Fine. Then another function is congestion control. So congestion control we have discussed in detail. We have already discussed congestion control. So if congestion is occurring, then in that case your transport layer protocols are able to handle it. In TCP header also we are having some fields which deals with your congestion control. So we can use those bits, which are special bits which are present in the transport TCP header. Okay, so that is one of the. Then we are having segmentation. So segmentation is one of the function of this layer. So in segmentation, also in application layer, from application layer, continuous streaming is there to the transport layer. So that is also known as a stream data transfer. So we are having application layer and transport layer. So what happens here, that continuous streaming is there from application layer. So here what happens, that whatever data is coming, that will be break into number of segments, whatever data is there. So whatever data is coming, that will be divided into number of segments. And then each segment are then passed to the IP layer for transmission to the destination. That is what happening over here, that we are having application layer. So whatever data, whatever continuous data which is coming, that will be bifurcated or divided into multiple segments. Those multiple segments will be sent to the network layer using IP protocol. Okay, segments are then passed to this IP layer for transmission to the destination. So okay, so network layer is responsible for routing, so it will be able to transmit that packet to the particular destination. So these are the main functions which are available for transport layer. So transport layer is responsible for all these functions. We are having two major protocols which are used in this layer. So those two protocols are responsible to provide these many functionalities. So in case of any confusion, you can send your feedback or you can send your comments in the comment section. Thank you so much.